It's McCabe and Jenny here inside the Mixed New Music Club, and today very excited to have a very talented singer-songwriter out of Montreal, Charlotte Cardin.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can we have like a lesson again on how you say it at home in French?
Well,
yes.
so I say Cardin, but Cardin or Cardin is more than fine.
Okay, Cardin.
Yes.
Cardin.
I mean,
very
McCabe,
good.
you were in Paris. You should know a little French.
I did. I saw a proposal on the Eiffel Tower. Is that
you
like
saw that?
I saw that actually happen.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Yeah, that's a classic spot to propose.
Yes, it
Were
is.
you the one proposing?
I was not. I was there by
You're like,
myself.
oh,
I'm like,
sorry.
So that's what it's like to be happy. Well, thank you for taking the time today and also coming off your JUNO Awards win. Congratulations
Thank you
on
so
that.
much.
Pop Album of the Year and Album of the Year.
Yes.
When they announce your name, what's going on in your head?
Complete blank. So it was really exciting. I mean, we were nominated for 7 different categories at the Junos, but Album of the Year was like the one that I was really hoping to get. Like, we put so much time and effort and sweat and tears into our albums, and the other artists who were nominated with me are incredible, and so it was just a huge honor. So when they said the name of the album and my name, I was like, I couldn't quite believe it, but it was a really lovely honor.
And if you don't know, the Junos are like the equivalent to the Grammy Awards here in the U.S. for Canada. And what was that like, writing 99 Nights while you were on the road and then winning all these awards for it?
Well, so I wrote 99 Nights kind of in between touring, but it was definitely it's an album that's very personal in a lot of ways. And I was going through a lot in my life when I wrote that album, and I wrote it with my friends. And when I look back thinking about the writing sessions that were involved in the songwriting process, I was surrounded with people that I really love, and we just put our art and they put their hearts into my music as well. And so it was just amazing to spend those moments trying to, I guess, like escape a little bit from things that I was going through times with friends, writing music, making art. Like, that's just so special, and I get to do that for a living, and to be and to have an award like that, recognize that, and give me the award for that album was extra special because I got to celebrate that with my friends who were with me at the Junos and who helped me go through all of that, writing the album with me. And so it's kind of a full circle moment of just being proud of the process and proud of my friends that I wrote the album with, and just, I guess, overall proud of that. You know?
Congratulations to you and your friends on the
Thank
wins.
you.
And when you do something like that, you're writing with friends. I mean, do you take time, like during tour, you're like, okay, today we're having a writing session at 4:00, or are you sending each other notes back and forth to each other and saying, yes, I like this, no, I don't like this?
I think it's a little bit of all of that. I mean, we definitely, for that album, we spent a lot of time like physically in the studio together, which are my favorite moments. It's just so fun. It's like 90% joking around and then like 10% actually writing a song. But I think the moments of just like hanging out and making jokes and whatever are the moments that usually really fuel the creative part of the day. And so it was a lot of moments together. And I think also we were just coming out of like lockdown and the pandemic at the time. And so time together was so special, and we just valued that so much. But there is a little bit of, we'll like have an idea and send it to each other, and a little bit of back and forth that can be like texting and all of that. But I love being in the studio physically with people when I write. I just think there's such special moments that I really cherish.
I was just talking with you last time you were in Chicago was at Lincoln Hall last fall, and I saw you posted on your Instagram, I love the USA.
Yes.
So what's been your most memorable moment in the States so far? Because I saw you had Mom Spaghetti in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I love being in the States. There are so many incredible cities. I feel like everyone's so welcoming and warm. Americans are very, very friendly, and so I always feel so welcome here, no matter which city I play in. So I've toured a lot in the States, but I have been here doing some radio promo for about 2 months now, and I've had so many highlights. I was just in Vegas for the first time in my life.
Wow.
That was really fun. We went to a Cirque du Soleil show. We did all these really fun things. But I have incredible memories of like performing. I mean, the last time we played in Chicago was so much fun at Lincoln Hall. And then I think of playing at El Rey in LA. That was one of the highlights of our tour. Irving Plaza in New York. We have some really big, like, live show highlights that happened in the States. So I'm just always happy to be here.
And you did stop in Vegas. So, I mean, did you go to the tables? Did you play any games?
So,
did you stay out till 4 a.m.?
It was my first time ever in a casino. I had never been to a casino in my life. And there was one in the basement of my hotel. And I put $20 in the slot machine, but I didn't really know how it worked. So I think I bet $20 the first time, and I pressed one button, and it was like, you lost. And I was like, oh.
No, that's how you go big, though, because if you would have got like 777 with $20 in there, that would have been a big win.
I know, right? But I didn't win. So I was like, okay, well. So my experience lasted like 0.1 seconds.
That's about 99% of everyone who goes to Vegas. That's their experience.
Yeah. I love that you've been having some fun while traveling, because I know you do so much traveling. So we've got summer vacations and summer trips coming up. What is your biggest travel hack?
Ooh, that's a really good one. What's my biggest travel hack? Okay, something I learned recently. I think it's obvious for some people, but I learned this recently, and I've been touring for 10 years, so I think I'm late to the party, is to like fold your t-shirts and then roll them up. So they're in like little, I don't know, like just little rolls.
I get what you mean, yeah.
And you can just put like twice as much stuff in your suitcase. Like at one point a few years ago, I toured for 2 months with just a carry-on. And to this day, I'm like, I don't know how I did it. This is not the situation right now. My team is looking at me. I have 2 huge suitcases.
They're like, that's a lie.
But I did do that because of the rolling technique. So that's just, yeah.
So I need to switch it up from just throwing my stuff in there.
You got to
switch it up. I get a lot more clothes.
If you want more space.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I also want to talk about your new EP, A Week in Nashville.
Yes.
First off, what happened during that week in Nashville then?
What happened is a lot of songwriting and making new friends through songwriting. I went to Nashville I had been to Nashville a few times just touring, kind of in and out, never really had the time to experience the city. And I was like, I'd love to go on a songwriting trip to Nashville. And so about 9 months ago, I did that for the first time, and I spent like 3 weeks in Nashville, did a bunch of songwriting sessions. And so it's a bit of a lie. It was 3 weeks, but I called it A Week in Nashville. It felt like a week because it went by so fast. And we wrote really, really fun songs that just kind of comforted me in a lot of ways, in the way that I needed the songwriting to, be a little bit therapeutic, I guess, in that moment. And so we wrote songs that I really loved, and I was like, I would love to release them as a little EP that's just a bit of a more acoustic vibe. Mm-hmm. It's not country music per se, but it's just I did songwriting sessions with a lot of producers and writers who are used to writing country music and more like folky music and stuff like that. So it kind of switched up, I guess, the instruments that we were using, just the approach to songwriting in general. And I just fell in love with Nashville. And I went back 3 or 4 times since, and both for fun with friends and to do more songwriting sessions. And so I wanted to just really encapsulate those first 3 weeks that I spent there, and just really, do a little EP with the songs that I wrote in a moment where I really needed those songs.
And one of those songs is out now. Can you tell us the name of it, and what was that inspiration?
The song is called Lonely With Our Love. So basically, to give you a little bit of a backstory, I've been in a long distance relationship for 7.5 years. So that's a long time to be long distance. And I was just reflecting on the fact that sometimes being in love in my situation feels lonelier than it would to be alone. And so I wrote that song at a time where I really, really felt that very deeply. And I wrote that song with my friend Gabe, who is based in Nashville, Gabe Simon. He's an amazing producer, songwriter. And we just clicked. Like the first songwriting session ever that we did together, it just got so personal. It just felt like we had been friends like in another life. Mm-hmm. It just felt so like such an immediate connection, both musically and like spiritually and emotionally. And so it was easy for me to just really open up to him and tell him about all of my problems, basically. And we wrote that song, and we wrote another one from the EP that's called I Came Here to Leave You. And it's also a very personal song. So, yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine 7.5 years doing long distance. I remember when I moved at one point, I did 6 months. And that was hard enough.
It's very hard.
It is, because, I mean, you want to be with that person, and all you can do is either FaceTime or text. And, I mean, so you do it. It is harder, I think, when they're not around.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it comes with other challenges.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends of mine who are like, well, you're lucky because like the relationship stays young and you're always happy to see each other. So I guess that's definitely an upside to like a long distance relationship. We don't get tired of seeing each other because we don't see each other. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. We're still together, still going.
Good, excellent.
And we're happy, but it definitely comes with some very hard moments. So I write about that a lot.
And I think that music is so relatable to a lot of your fans. So you were at Lollapalooza in 2018. Did I get that right? And you're going to be performing Summerfest in Milwaukee, June 21st. So what is like the biggest, I guess, change that you've made, that you've taken with you for festivals that you remember from 6 years ago that now you're going to be taking to Summerfest?
Wow. I feel like I have evolved so much in all of those years as a performer, as an artist, as a songwriter, because so we haven't really stopped touring aside from like lockdown period, but I toured so much since. So I just have more fun on stage. I feel like every show teaches me something different. And so I just feel more comfortable. I have more fun connecting to the audience. I feel like now performing just really, really feels like a moment of like a special moment where I'm sharing something with an audience. It's not about me. It's about a moment that we're sharing. And I really love that so much. And I think maybe before I always felt that way, but it was harder because I think I was maybe a little bit more nervous to perform and still learning all about it. So, yeah, I just have so much fun on stage. I love festivals, too. It's just such a fun way people are there to have a good time.
Oh, yeah, they're having a great time.
They're having
Sometimes they may remember or they may remember not, but yeah, they're having a great time.
Always a good time. And also festivals are always such a great context to discover new artists. Like you won't necessarily buy tickets to go see an artist you've never heard of, but when you're at a festival and you have all these different stages, it's a really good way to discover new artists. So I love that. I know that a lot of people who will potentially discover me at Summerfest will, hear of me for the first time. And that's really fun to play to an audience for the very first time, too, and discover them and have them discover you.
Well, we look forward to seeing you perform some of the new stuff at Summerfest. You got to say like Summerfest.
Summerfest.
But I mean, let's take it back to Confetti. And what were you doing when you were writing this song? And congratulations on the massive success of that as well.
Thank you so much. Well, so Confetti was one of those really fun songwriting sessions. It felt like the song wrote itself, basically. I wrote it with my friend Lou Boleyn, who's based in Montreal, and he's a huge introvert, and I consider myself an introverted person as well, and we really bonded on that. And I think we were just telling each other stories of like how we felt kind of awkward in crowds or parties, and we would like go to the bathroom for like a little breather and compose ourselves and go back out there. And it felt like secretly we had been accumulating ideas for that specific song without knowing it our entire lives. So it was like a few hours and the song was done, and it was just so fun. And yeah, it's one of those magical songwriting sessions. And so we were like, let's write a bit of an ode to introverts, and that's what we did. It's our party track for people who don't really love being at the party.
We need that. We do need that.
I love that. Well, we do have a box of possibly unfortunate questions for you that we'd love for you to draw a few questions from.
It's a really good box. Who?
I did. Yeah, I have a lot of time on my hands.
Well, a lot of arts and crafts for McCabe.
Good arts and crafts.
I have a bag of tiny hands.
Okay. What is one thing you'll never do again? Okay, what can I say that is radio friendly? What is one thing that I will never do again? I mean, I am never eating really spicy food right before a show. I've had some very traumatic experiences on my last tour, so that's one thing that I can guarantee.
We've talked about that too. We've like gone to dinner before shows and had like some spicy food, and then we're just sitting there like burping the whole time. Like,
well,
I don't know
let's
if I
not
should
say
have
we.
had.
That
Okay,
is you. You're burping, and I'm like, what is that smell? That's a good one.
My apologies.
So definitely just staying a little bit on the safer side with the food I'm eating right before a show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Smart. Okay.
Can I grab?
Yeah, we'll do one more.
All right. What's a funny habit you do at home while no one is watching? I mean, I sleep with a blankie still, and I'm pushing 30. So I guess that's kind of a funny habit. But I also bring my blankie everywhere I go on tour. And it's like I just can't really sleep without it. It's like a little pillow thing with little flowers. It looks like it belongs to a toddler.
That you've like had since you were a toddler for the most part?
Since I was born. But my mom, every Christmas, she will or every couple Christmases, she will sew a little, it's just like a little pocket thing that I can put my original blankie in, because now it's just like
falling apart
and falling apart, basically. So I guess that's like a bit of an embarrassing thing, but I love my blankie. I can't really sleep without it.
No, whatever makes you feel better, especially while on tour. I think that is great to bring your blankie. Yeah,
home.
Even 10 years from now, when you come back, you still better have that blankie.
I hope I do.
And before you go, again, congratulations on the JUNO Awards. Do you put those up in your place so everyone can see them? Because I definitely would.
Right now, they are very much in the middle of the living room. But I'm currently working on building a little studio where I can practice and write songs, and I think they'll have a special spot in the studio. I feel like they're a little bit intense in the living room, but I feel like the studio will be there.
Okay,
use it as motivation for your next one,
right? Yeah.
And then also, I saw on your album 99 Nights, you do have a song, Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Since putting that out, have you talked to him? Has he reached out? And can you tell us about your love of Jim Carrey?
Okay, well, so I love Jim Carrey for a lot of reasons, but I especially love him for his inspirational side. I don't know if you're familiar with his inspirational videos where he talks about the ego and how to pursue our goals and all of that. He's extremely eloquent and brilliant. And so if you're not familiar with the videos, go on YouTube today. You will love it. So I wrote a song in which I ask him to marry me, basically to liberate me from my evil ego. And the day of the release of the song, he called me on my phone, and that was that was the craziest phone call I've ever gotten. And he was so generous and kind, and I don't know, I just thought it was so elegant of him. I had reached out a few days before the release of the song. I knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew Jim Carrey's publicist. So it was really a drop in the ocean. I was like, I don't know if he'll ever get this, but I sent him the song and a little voice note explaining the backstory to the song and why I wrote it and all of that. And I gave him my info, and I was like, you never know. And he called me on the day of the release, and it was really lovely of him. We spoke on the phone for 20 minutes. He was so kind and generous. I only have positive things to say.
I mean, he is the best. I mean, do you have top 3 movies for Jim Carrey?
Well, so I love the sad Jim Carrey movies. My top one is Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, great one.
Best one. And then Truman Show, I think, is my second favorite. And The Mask is so good too. I love Liar Liar. I love a lot of them.
Ace Ventura, classic. Dumb and Dumber, one of my favorite movies.
Dumb and Dumber has to be up there.
Yeah,
it's definitely. So I'm a huge Jim Carrey stan, but he even more so ever since he called me and gave me that time. I thought it was just so elegant of him.
Ariana Grande loves him too, so he's got something going on that artists love.
Yeah,
we can't thank you enough for taking the time to stop by today, and we will see you at Summerfest in June. And Charlotte Cardin, thank you so much for stopping by. 101.9 The Mix.
Thank you for having me.